but not be used by them. If we are our emotions, rather than an observer of them, we will veer into a chaotic state. If, on the other hand, we repress our feelings altogether, we can swing the other way, into rigidity. There is a difference between saying, "I am angry," and saying, "I feel angry." The first statement is a description that appears closed. The second is an acknowledgement of a feeling and does not define the whole self. In the same way that it is useful to be able to separate ourselves from our feelings, it is also necessary to be able to observe our thoughts. Then we can notice the different kinds of thoughts we have and can examine them rather than be them. This allows us to notice which thoughts work well for us and whether any of our internal mind chatter is self-defeating. To help explain the theory, let's look at this example. How a mother observes her infant in order to understand him or her. She mirrors back to the baby its expressions, its inner states, and from what she observes, she learns to understand its needs from moment to moment. Being observed, understood, and met in this way is vital for the formation of our personality, and indeed, our survival. The practice of self-observation mirrors the way in which a mother observes and attunes to her baby. Self-observation is a method of re-parenting ourselves. When we self-observe, it helps us to form and reform. It may help to think of our self-observing part as a distinct component of ourselves. It is self-accepting and non-judgmental. It acknowledges what is, not what should be, and does not assign values such as right or wrong. It notices emotions and thoughts, but gives us space to decide how to act on them. It is the part of us that listens both to our emotions and our logic, and is aware of sensory information. To begin self-observing, ask yourself these questions. What am I feeling now? What am I thinking now? What am I doing at this moment? How am I breathing? These simple questions are important because when we have answered them, we are in a better position to proceed to the next question. What do I want for myself in this new moment? You may have made instantaneous changes just by reading the questions. For example, when we bring our attention to our breathing, we become aware of how we are inhibiting it, and while we remain aware of it, we tend to breathe more slowly. Change happens, if it needs to, when we become aware of what we are, not when we try to become what we are not. I call these questions the grounding exercise. If we do this or something similar at odd moments during the day and get into the habit of doing so, we can create a space for self-observation. Then, if we are going off course, we have the opportunity to redirect ourselves. When I did the grounding exercise myself yesterday, I noticed that when I asked myself the questions, I felt dissatisfied. I found I was dreaming of replacing all my furniture. What was I doing? I was reading an interior design magazine and I was breathing shallowly. After I had answered the first 4 questions, I was in a better position to answer the last. What did I want for myself? What I wanted for myself at that moment was to exhale, put the magazine down, and turn my attention to something different. And so I went for a swim to switch my focus. Doing the grounding exercise helps us to place ourselves in our internal experience. People can be loosely put into 2 groups, those who externally reference and those who internally reference. Externally referenced people are more concerned with the impression they make on other people. What do I look like? What does this look like? Internally referenced people are more concerned with what something feels like. Do I like the feel of this or that better? Externally referenced people want to get it right for others, so they will be accepted, impress them, or be envied by them. But internally referenced people want to get it right for themselves, so they feel comfortable with themselves. I'm not saying that one way of self-referencing is always superior to the other, but I do want to stress the desirability of increasing our awareness of how we reference ourselves, so that we can work out how we place ourselves on the internal-external scale. Too far on the externally referenced side, and we lose a sense of ourselves and become off balance. If, on the other hand, we swing too far the other way, towards